It's all about this family out of Texas going on a digital diet. So when you hear that, do you think it's something you and your hubby or Cornelia, you would want to participate in?
I do.
Yeah. Do we feel a little obsessed, a little overconnected, maybe?
Yeah. It's at some point it's just too much.
It's just too much. Okay, so this Texas family said, you know what? They have 2 kids. These kids are young, under 10 years old, and they started to realize that these kids were obsessed, literally obsessed. So they teamed up with ABC and said, yes, let's get a psychiatrist in here to say to tell us what is going on, and then maybe help us solve this issue, because for a lot of people, they like to just blame, oh, it's a parenting issue, right? The fact that these parents don't know how to control their kids, they need to find the balance. We talked about this yesterday. How are even parents supposed to know when enough is enough or too much is too much, when all of this digital stuff came at us all at the same time? Whether you're a kid or you're an adult, we all are learning about it at the same time. So, okay, the psychiatrist deems it as ESS, electronic screen syndrome, an actual thing, because a child's mind becomes overstimulated by all of the digital screens that are in front of them, causing them to act out, causing them for their psyche to be a little off. Their behavior changes, their views on life change, because all they want to do is pick up the devices. So they decided to take up this challenge, right? And they're calling this the digital diet or the electronic fast. And they did it for about a month, and they said that the kids, for the first time, were challenged with the idea of, if you literally cannot pick up a device, and we're talking iPads, tablets of any sort, any phones, anything, your Nintendo, anything electronic, then what is it that you're going to do? So as a family, and for the first time, they all unplugged. It wasn't just the kids. They all went outside and played outside.
Who would have thought?
They were playing with blankets and making tents and things that we are all accustomed to as kids, and that the kids now actually say that they're excited about this sort of change. They needed to be kind of shook, you know, like there is other things out in the world, but it took the parents to team up with ABC to get with a psychiatrist to say what's going on, and then how can we make a change. So they're challenging the rest of us to maybe go on this digital diet. Literally put a challenge. We all know challenges resonate with us as a human race, right? Because we like to compete, we like to come out as winners. So if you can challenge yourself for 4 weeks, and I don't know to what extent, they had to have made phone calls. I mean, if you need to make a phone call, you need to make a phone call, but certain times of the day, absolutely no phones, no playing games, all of that. So I think it's interesting. I would love to take this challenge with my husband and see if it works for us, because I do find myself grabbing for the phone every time I wake up, scrolling sometimes just to scroll. We call it that. Babe, you're scrolling just to scroll right now. You're like, oh, my mind wasn't even looking.
There's a lot of people already weighing in on this conversation. So shout out to Misty, who says, I think I may have a problem too, because I use my iPhone for everything. So it's not just the kids. I think it's the influence of all of us around the kids that is almost showing them, hey, I'm doing it so you can do it too.
Example, right?
Joseph Barnett says, I go camping and shut off my electronics except for taking pictures. Not a problem, but I will use them at home, and they are a miracle for researching current events. So here's where I totally agree with you, Joseph. I escape to the mountain on my weekends. I go up where there is rarely cell service. Granted, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, because I post photos when I'm up there. And sometimes I will do Instagram stories. So I'm not completely disconnected.
You're still connected.
Yeah. But I do also think that getting outside and having something almost to distract you from your electronics is necessary, because you're constantly getting alerts and updates, and your phone will buzz or vibrate or make a noise and chime in to remind you that there's stuff going on in the world that you should probably know about. And unless you have it out of sight, out of mind, and you're distracted with something else, it's so easy to pick it up even when you don't want to, even when you aren't looking for something. It's just, it's there, so why not grab it?
I think it's easier though for adults, right? Because we remember what it's like to not have devices. We remember when cell phones came out, and then you could only make calls on the cell phone. We remember when you were able to start texting. So I think we actually remember what you can do without having gadgets. But as for a kid, kids don't know anything but gadgets, phones, iPads, laptops. Let's say you're out with your little cousins, and this happens all the time. They'll come up to you and they'll see your phone. They'll be like, you got games on your phone? Because they don't want to talk to anybody. They just want to play their game. So they don't remember what it's like. So I think it'll really be a struggle for kids. If people really did this, I can see the kids being like, I don't know what to do.
Because
you're your butt outside.
Well, and they're like,
in the dirt.
What do you do outside? Okay, in the dirt, when you have these really cool games on the phone, like, it doesn't add up. When we were kids, there was no such thing as this level of fun. So it's sort of like like to your point, you can't blame the kids for wanting to go for the devices, but it's also, and on the other side of it, it's not fair to the kids to say, go outside. What are you thinking being up here? Go out. We didn't raise them in a world that is like that anymore. So maybe it's not go outside and play. Maybe it's, hey, we're going to take you to, I don't know, give them an activity. Because to say go out and play, they don't know. And they don't know what that means. Like, they don't know what to do out there.
I think, but then it's the time to learn what to do, because you can only go to, let's say Monday through Friday, you can only go to the zoo on the weekend because you work a full-time job. They got track practice or whatever after school. So big activities can only be reserved for the weekend. So at some point, there has to be other things to do. Otherwise, you're just cooped up in the house.
So here's the thing I remember about my childhood: playing outside with a friend. So this is what in my opinion, the electronics are taking away, is the interaction between other people. And I know that you can get on, I have nephews who are big on getting on the games, and then they connect with other people. They've got the headsets on and they're talking to other people. And so they are getting some sort of that interaction, but that face-to-face interaction is what I feel like I want to instill in my kids one day. And I do think that we're starting to turn a slight page in the generation that we're in.
And we talked about that the other day, because now we were introduced to it at the high school level, MySpace, if not, after that. But okay, so now we're turning this page where we know what it's like to be consumed by it, and we want something a little different now.
And I would say that most of my friends who have kids now, we're on the upper millennial group, I'm seeing them say, you know what, when we're at the grocery store, sometimes, yes, I let them hold on to this. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I say, this is an apple. What color is that? That's a banana. But I also have those same friends who say, but we try so hard to do outdoor activities daily. And so they are seeing, at least a lot of my friends, that this could become a big issue for the next generation. And I feel like I'm almost at the point some days where I want to remove Facebook altogether, because we're spending so much time, and you're seeing kind of a false perspective of some of the people you follow. And so, but I do think that it's important to have balance. Kids need to have the technology too, because they need to know how to use it so they don't get bullied, so that they know how to use it in school.
And get behind.
But it's a balance.
I have a friend who he has nieces and nephews, and their father, as a punishment, he told the kids, it was like 4 children, y'all need to go outside and play as a punishment, and the kids were upset, like we don't want to go play with each other, like mad. He would have to use outdoors activities to punish the kid, because they were so beat down about it. They want to stay in, they want to play on the gadget, they want to play on the laptop. So they were like, well, we're going to play outside together, like crying. So maybe now we're here. Maybe we should just accept it, or find other ways to engage using technology. Are there any games where parents and kids can play together? You know, like, is there anything out there where it just doesn't take the kid and force them to be in this isolated world? Like Dina said, yes, when you play games, you can talk to other people, but are there any family activities, technology-based, that we need to be looking into now?
Yeah, that's a good point. I want to read what the psychologist had told this family. Again, going back to the story, if you're just chiming in, ABC teamed up with this family in Texas after the family just really reached an ending point where they're like, you know what, my kids are obsessed with technology, and guess what, so are we as parents. We are at this breaking point. What can we do? So they challenged this family to go on this digital diet, teamed them up with a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist says the child goes into a state of hyperarousal and the brain just starts to malfunction, so you see problems with focus, behavior, and mood. She went on to say a lot of times with screen time issues, people tend to blame the parents. They just say, oh, this is a parenting issue, and that's not actually true. A lot of families will actually restrict screen time pretty well, but the kids can still have these symptoms because their minds have been overstimulated. It's almost like
having a withdrawal.
And so again, you can't look at the kids and just say go outside.
Right.
You can't just tell someone who's addicted to something to stop smoking. Say if it's a process.
Well, Misty Botero, thank you for your comment, and I would love to hear more about what you said initially. You said, unless I'm allowed to keep in touch with my 13-year-old when she is away from home, I 100% believe this is a problem. And then you said, Misty, I feel my daughter has a problem. So what is it that's leading you to believe that about your daughter? Is it because, you know, she's not wanting to interact with other friends? Is it because she has to be on the phone all the time? How old is your daughter? Is it something that you're seeing her friends also do? Clearly none of us are yet parents, but we are learning from all of you every day on these stories. And I'm curious to see, you know, what you think that problem is at this point.
Yeah, what the problem is. Did you read Monica Drolet's comment? She says,
yet.
Unfortunately, I have a hard time going on a digital diet when I'm at the Mount Shasta area where there's a cemetery and I have no cell service or Wi-Fi. It puts me in panic mode. It's an addiction and the sickness. I know. Because you do feel like when you disconnect, how about if so-and-so needs to reach me?
But you know what? If you still have your cell phone to make a phone call and someone needs to reach you, they can, you know, and if you want to turn your phone on airplane mode just to be able to escape the alerts coming at you.
Yes, you still have your device should there be an emergency.
And then you can control it, turn it back off airplane mode when you're ready again. And then you've got it. That might be an easy way to kind of slide into it.
Yeah, and it's at this point we all get it, right? Because we're all there.
Yeah.
We're all semi-addicted, or I think we're scared to say we're addicted because that is a heavy word. You know, you just say you're addicted to something, we don't want to admit to that because that means, well, the whole world is then addicted right now. But I think
we live in a world where we're getting presidential news and news about the world on our phones.
Everything you need. You can get everything. You can order groceries
in the palm of your hand.
Movies. You can watch movies. Like
book entire vacations.
When the cell phone came out, the big car phone with the wire and the cord. It's
so cool.
Think we're here now.
I know.
We were there. It's just.
I mean,
it's
the phones are helping. A quick story about this app in New York right now, where they're launching it to try to help the homeless population, and they're able to connect all these people on the same internet device that's app-based, and social workers are able to see these homeless people from different communities and what they need. And I mean, it can be used for so much good.
Yeah.
But it's just in moderation.
I'm going to try it, but instead of saying, okay, for 4 months, I'm going to day by day.
Okay.
And I'll give one example of what my husband and I do. And for those who don't know, don't watch. So my husband Caesar and I have been together since high school. And so we've gone through this whole process of evolving as human beings and as digital people who are addicted to the digital devices, and we've seen that affect our relationship in different ways because he never used to be the one that was scrolling or really into seeing people's pictures, but now he is because I'm so invested in my 2 phones every day plus my computer and blah blah blah. So what we do every night, and this isn't something that I even did growing up, so it's something we're trying to start before we have kids, to sit down every night at dinner, no phones. Phones are on the chargers in the room. Doesn't matter who's calling, no answering, and we talk about our 3 wins of the day. And so every night we go, okay, 3 wins, go. And he'll be like, oh, today, or I'll say today, I felt like I really had great moments in the show. I feel like, you know, viewers are connecting with us. And he'll say, okay, my win, he works in the banking world, my win was, you know, this relationship with my clients, this and that. And then we'll go into the second win. Something as small as, you know what, on my drive to the gym tonight, I felt like I was really paying attention to the leaves that were falling. Like, and for me, that was a win because I don't always get to experience that because I'm so wrapped up in my head or at the stop sign trying to go like, who commented on my picture? And it really, and it was an idea from my cousin who said that her and her boyfriend do it every night because he's really big into like motivational speeches and all these things, and I love it. And every night.
That's a great idea.
I told my mom, she's like, you don't actually do that every night. And I'm like, every night. Caesar is a very committed person. 3 wins. 3 wins.
Because you know what's hard? My husband and I see each other in passing. We have opposite schedules, and we both work in news, so it's very easy for us to both get wrapped up in the news conversation. And because he gets it, I can complain about things that I'm not happy with, and he will be like, you know, on the side of, I know exactly where you're coming from. So I love that.
Yeah, we don't talk about the bad, and we do. Sure, it comes up in conversation, but
that
I'm like,
encourages
we're focusing on the wins.
Anything else you guys do?
Yeah.
If you have some tips, let's share them with each other and start this conversation. I love that. I'm going to pick that one up.
Cool. Yeah, do it.